down to as little as $25 a month, based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395.
A cultural melting pot of goodness. Spoony.
Oh, yeah, Tom. Oh, yeah. Ha! What's up, Chef? Nothing. I beat the timeline, damn it.
You did.
Woo!
Proud of you.
Yes. Well, actually, it was after the show launched, but it was before the audio went live, so. Winter chicken dinner. Woo! So like twice in 17 days, I think I shared to my page before I actually started talking.
Well, what are you doing before?
You know what? I've told everyone I have not dedicated the time necessary to show prep. And that still stands true, which is why we do so much ridiculous food news and other silly stories from my past about food, mostly in Japan. If y'all are tired of Japan, I don't care. I'm still going to talk about it. So,
did you ever tell the wasabi story?
Which one?
How wasabi grows.
Oh, dude. So you know what? Man, this company invited us to go to Japan.
Yeah.
So last year, just about a year ago, it'll be a year ago in
May.
1 month.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was the 17th through the 19th last year. We were at the NRA 99th Annual National Restaurant Association, that is, not the NRA, although I like to eat stuff that other people kill. We went to the NRA show in Chicago. Tom was one of the, four of us that went.
Mm-hmm.
And we met, well, it's funny because you and I went to the corners of the universe over there. And if you've never been to the NRA show, it's held at McCormick Place in Chicago. McCormick Place is, by the way, the largest convention center, I believe, in North America.
I believe so.
It's gigantic. What a, my feet hurt, dude. It hurts just thinking about it. But we found this, because I love all things Japanese, I'm kind of a Japanophile, and a Japanophile.
That's a good word.
Japanophile, right? Not an Anglophile, although I love all stuff English. I'm a Japanophile. I love the country. I love the culture. I love the food more than anything. We came across, there was a row of, it wasn't just from Japan, but Asian vendors.
Yes.
And anyway, one lady kind of approached, hey. And so, oh, no, it wasn't. It was the gentleman that was there. And I said, where in Japan are you? In Japanese. And he kind of freaked out a little bit. So Tom, you'd never had fresh wasabi, right?
Had not.
Man, nope. It's so different, isn't it? It's
much better.
Yeah, well, if you eat Japanese food, and we need to put that on camera too. Anyway, if you eat Japanese food, and Tom is actually in studio, you can't see him. I think that camera will switch in a minute. You'll see, dude, I have good hair envy. I'm so pissed. You're a few years older. A few years. We won't say how many.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Man, I'm starting to. When I'm in the other studio and that camera's shining right down on top of my head and it highlights my bald spot, I'm like, no, I need to wear a baseball cap. But anyway, if you've never had fresh wasabi, the next time you go to a restaurant, okay, now I know how silly I look. I need to just stop moving my arms. Maybe I could pat my head and rub my tummy next time. I can chew gum and talk at the same time. At least I'm not choking yet. Well, I get nervous before the show. I do. I still do.
You should.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
good,
sweating.
though. That means something.
Yeah, so I'm
not sure what that
I had
means,
that act.
It means something.
Had the act mouth spray, but I can't find it anymore. So now they have the gum. I'm not sure it's because that's like show host faux pas number one. You know what happens? Eventually, it's going to fall out of your mouth. Or you're going to spit it out when you're talking to someone. And yeah, since we're on video, it's not cool.
Not at all.
All right, so if you've never had fresh wasabi before, next time you go to a Japanese restaurant or your local Asian restaurant and yet they have sushi, ask and see if they have it. If they do, it's such a different experience. It starts out, you don't taste anything. It's just kind of a sweetness to it. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden there's this punch to the sinuses and behind the back of the eyeballs, and it's really sharp, but then it fades really quickly. It's not like the stuff we have here in the States. That comes in a 5-pound bag, by the way, and it's basically grated horseradish, and then they add a green food dye to it, it's plant-based. At least it's natural. Well, and even in Japan, they use that, right? They don't put that on every piece of sushi in Japan. The fresh stuff, it's expensive. Like one little stick of, it's like $40 to $80 a pound. It's really expensive. Might even be more than that.
How do you buy your grower?
How do you grow it? That's
wasabi.
That's the whole point. So Tom, thank you for pulling me out of the rabbit hole and bringing me back full circle. Basically, it grows in running water. Yeah. So, and that video we saw, Tom's like, oh, I don't know that. Yeah, you did. I'll tell you that. That's
for the benefit of the listeners.
No, it's beautiful. So, the video that we saw of this particular location, they have a channel. Basically, it's a man-made diversion of a river. And it is a river. It's not huge. It's probably 50 feet wide, and what it has is it's fairly. They can control the flow upstream, but what is it? It goes for like maybe 200 to 300 feet, and then it steps down, and they have all this other plant life that naturally grows there, which is there and grows amongst the wasabi plants. But it actually grows in running water. It's not a root. It is a root, but it's not like horseradish. Horseradish looks like daikon radish when you pull it out of the ground, except it's got this gray, thick skin on it. You ever had fresh horseradish?
No.
It's fantastic.
I love horseradish.
I mean, unprepared, just plain old horseradish. I did a dish out in San Diego where I would take a salmon fillet. You know, at the end of the week or the end of the day, we would prep for 2 days at a time. We would try to, and then just supplement for that day. Like, say you oversold one night more than you thought you were going to. We had a guy just dedicated to cutting fish at Pio's, which was a chart house restaurant. And we called him Bobo or Rojo. His name was Jeff. He was like 6'4", red hair. Nicest guy I've ever met. Took me fishing a bunch of times. But he would come in and he would cut fish. He was like, it was unbelievable. He'd break down a fish in like 30, 45 seconds, get your portions all done. And like literally a fish was done in 3 minutes. This is like a 25-pound salmon. And but we would have extra fish sometimes. So I created a special which became a menu item, and I took those salmon fillets or the cross-cut sections of salmon, and I would just cut it down the middle and fillet it out, but leave it connected, like butterflying a steak, basically. And then on the inside is salt and pepper, and then fresh horseradish. Oh, it was awesome. And then we served that with a cream sauce. So I would roll it up like a pinwheel and put this big kind of a skewer through it. I mean, a Japanese skewer. And then we would sear it on the bottom and then just throw it in the oven and roast it. Oh my God, it was unbelievable. It didn't suck. It didn't suck. Just saying. So back to how they grow it. It's the water has to be flowing or the plant dies, right? But I really want to go there. I want to take them up on their offer.
Yeah, field trip next year.
Dude. No, this year. Not next year, dude.
2020.
I think fall 2019.
Got to start planning it.
No, well. So wait. If we could plan it around 2020, the Olympics are coming up in Tokyo.
That was the idea.
I know. We talked about this for a long time. So just so you know, one of the ideas I had when we launched Spoony was to do Spoony tours, right? Spoony food tours. And like the day after I came up with that idea, it was on the way back I was actually on the way back from the NRA. I ran into a guy who's a gentleman who's he's one of the guides for, it's Story. Oh, man, how can I not remember this? The guy's last name is Story. It's Story, not Tales, but anyway.
He books tours.
Dude, I lost. Yeah, he doesn't book tours. This guy, this company, Story Land and Sea.
Huh.
Okay, I think so. And the gentleman's last name is Story, the guy that founded the company back in the 60s or 70s. And the other gentleman is one of his tour guides. When I met him, I was sitting at O'Hare, and my flight was delayed after, we'll just say
fiasco.
Interesting attempt at returning the rental equipment in Chicago. You know, I learned a lot. And by the Jeff, I owe you $100, by the way.
Was your best friend?
Oh, man, Jeff's been a friend since he was one of my only people in culinary school I've kept in touch with. He, Ian Kleiman, who does the inventing room, and he talked about delivery of drinks by drone up in Colorado. I have to tell you, Jeff, I know I owe you $100, and I'll make good plus interest. Sorry. Okay. Back to the story. So I'm sitting there talking to this gentleman, and I don't want to say his name just in case, but he lives in Colorado Springs. And I said, what do you do? He said, well, I'm a tour guide. I was like, I'm a chef. So we started talking. He said, well, I do more than that, actually. He had just been in Italy. They had they were in Tuscany, It was 18 people there for a wedding, plus extended family, so it ended up being like 30 or 40. And he was their guide for the entire week. He coordinated the entire wedding.
Wow.
They had a chef on premise at some big estate. It was beautiful. He was showing me photos at this big villa. It was beautiful. And I'm like, huh. So maybe you guys want to do a show. And then what I said is, actually, we'd like to do tours. Maybe we could do tours under our logo, but you could help us coordinate.
Nice.
Hey, the offer still stands. I'm just saying we're growing like wildfire. Not finally, we're growing.
You're adding 3 shows a week, man.
Dude, one a week consistently, but yeah, I've got Randy White goes live today.
There you go. Glad I reminded you.
Into the fire. No, well, that was for the next segment, but that's okay. But Randy White goes live. There'll be an hour break between he and I, or my show and his show, and then he goes live for an hour. And Gwen Rich, who's actually currently in that slot, will remain there for most of this week. She goes live next week at 9 a.m. Central. That's 10 a.m. Eastern. And she's going to be doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then adding in Tuesday eventually, possibly. And yeah, I love her show.
It's a great show. Great lady.
Yeah, she's got such a good story. If you don't know Gwen, go to therichsolution.com. Check her out. Check her out. This is not Brad. Is she hot? No. Well, actually, she's very beautiful. But if you just listen to her story, this is a woman that 14, 15 years ago went to the doctor not feeling well. For 8 years was misdiagnosed. Almost 7 years ago, 6.5 years ago, was diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, and she's far exceeded her expiration date, as she calls it. So good story, great tips on living healthy, and just phenomenal human being. Mm-hmm. She and Adam.
Oh, she.
Whoa, Adam! I hope you're listening. Look, I know I was kind of an ass to Adam not the last time he spoke to me, but the last time we spent any significant time, and okay, well, maybe I'm the one that's needs self-help.
That's all good.
Is there a 12-step program for chefs that know their asses and admit it? I don't think so.
You would know that. You've been involved in it for so long.
No. Well, yeah. Well, I know that. Well, yes, I would know that I'm an ass, and that I admit that freely. But that doesn't mean that I've ever looked for the assistance from myself or anyone else.
So speaking of chefs, you aside. Why are most chefs overweight?
Well, there's a wow, that's a complicated question, but we don't eat right most of the time. So we tend to eat late at night or not at all. And when we do, we kind of binge. Excessive intake of alcohol, which this is coffee, not alcohol. Tom can attest.
The cup, it says coffee.
Well, you want to taste? No.
Pass.
He's like, I'm not going to blow your secret, dude. And it's caffeinated too. So if I start running laps in between the segments, sorry.
Get a nice long highway behind you.
I know.
At least there's no railroad tracks.
Yeah, well, that does look real, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Damn, awesome. I tell you, Brad Staggs did the best job building the set. And everyone says how big it looks in here. It's huge. This is like 50 feet. It's actually smaller than it. It's 50 feet by 24 at least.
It's bigger than the ABC sets.
Oh, no, they're tiny.
I know.
They have like 5 cameras in a tiny little like 10 by 14 room. All right, so back to the question. We don't eat right, number one. Seriously, you'll often find chefs driving through a drive-through, a fast food drive-through late at night, and ordering things you wouldn't expect. Like my downfall was those stupid fried tacos, man. No, seriously, at Jack in the Box at 1 o'clock in the morning. There were not very many fast food places open in most of the places I've lived. Taco Bell and dude, I'm coming clean. I got to be honest. Taco Bell and Jack in the Box were the only 2 that were open. And so 1 o'clock, 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, because chefs also, again, drink a lot. So we like recognition. And I mean, we don't want adoration. We just like recognition for what we're doing. And when that occurs, or doesn't occur rather, then we go seek it. I being the exception to the rule. But typically after work, if you're done at 1 o'clock in the morning, 12:30 at night, where are you going to go? What are you going to do?
Plus, you're probably still all wound up.
Oh, are you kidding? No, we're not wound up. No. Hey. Fire 27. Yes, pick up 13. No, we're not wound up at all. I mean, we've only been up like 16 hours and drank, 9 Cokes and I don't know, whatever else you've had and consumed in the kitchen, but probably very little food. So you go out to the local restaurant where you get free food or at least discounted and typically one free beverage from the bartender because they know you'll tip them at least that much. And, we don't lead a healthy lifestyle. We don't sleep in. As a matter of fact, we rarely sleep. And our brains don't stop. So when we are sleeping, which I've stayed at your home before, 3 o'clock in the morning, you hear me, door opens, closes.
The light's still on.
Yeah, I'm looking for a piece of scratch paper to Tom was like, hey, dude, did you fall asleep with the TV or light on last night? I was like, no, it's still up, man. It's 5:30. Sorry. He's like, okay, well, just turn the light off next time. And, sorry, I'll pay the electric bill.
No worries.
We aren't very healthy with our lifestyle. And part of that is the pressures of the position. If you look at the top 5 most stressful positions in the world, if you manage 8 people or more in a kitchen as an executive chef, that's been number 1 years. I don't know how many years in a row. We're starting to change that, but it's we're martyrs. We like going to the bar at the end of the week and seeing our other chef friends and say, hey, how you doing, man? Buy you a drink? Yeah, sure. You buy me a drink. You got 6 of us lined up, or even 3 of us. And I mean, I've said this before. It's like, man, I'm tired. I work like 74 hours this week, guys. Like, dude, 74 hours. We're in the middle of an opening. I like 89. This guy's like, dude, I'm 67 days in a row, and I worked 104 hours this week. Shut the hell up. And that's how we are. We take this. I don't want to say it's a sick sense of pride, because that's not it. There's a one of the listeners buying me a nightlight for Christmas. I love it. Oh, wait. And then, Shearer said, hey, dude, horseradish on fish, Sean? He goes, not sure how I feel about that. It's got to be better than peanut butter on a damn brat. Just saying, brother. I love you, but come on. He's going to respond now, I'm sure. Oh, Richard Brandt's present. Are you present? Stephen Alls, we know you're present because you're talking about horseradish on fish. No, I'm serious. It's really good. It's got to be raw horseradish, not prepared, no vinegar, nothing like that. Raw, unadulterated horseradish. You have to peel it really good. Really, you have to. It has these. I'll get back to the chef question, but as far as the horseradish goes, it has these little dark spots in it that are where the roots grow out. When you have to peel it quite deep to get those little brown spots out. So I'm just saying, it's really good though. Just grate it on a box grater. Good stuff. All right, so back to that. We have this sick sense of pride in kind of being martyrs and working more than others. We're terrible at delegating. We are. Because you know why? We'd rather work by, we'd rather train by iron fist and fear, because that's how we were taught, than empowering the growing chef, the aspiring, the budding chef, our underlings, to learn how to take control and manage the kitchen in our stead. Because the greatest fear we have is a dissatisfied guest. Even one. Especially if we're not there. That's why on our days off, what do? Just show up unannounced. Oh, I just need to check the walk-in, see, I make sure I got the orders right. The sous chef's like, hey, dude, I thought that's what I'm here for. Yeah, I just need to check something. Yeah. So 6 hours later, all right, guys, we'll see you end of the shift. Yeah. No, it's all right. Okay, you can take over Expo. I'm going to head home. And what do? 30 minutes later, call in. Hey, anything happen?
Jeez. Call
the GM. Hey, I was just checking. Nothing happened, right? I know there's a VIP on table 2. Everything go okay? Yeah, everything's fine. We are very paranoid about our reputation. Because we put everything we have, our heart, soul, our time, we forsake family, friends, vacations to serve other people food.
That's admirable.
I don't. Is it admirable or is it
stupid?
No, I don't think it's stupid. But I'll have to tell you, if we were more effective, if chefs in general, which there are a lot of great modern day chefs. Look, like David Chang, right? Or Michael, he's one of the chefs I aspire to be. He Milk Bar, Momofuku, and yes, don't ask how that's spelled. Momofuku in New York, and then Milk Bar in LA. He's got a bunch of other restaurants. He's been very good at setting the standard and then bringing in a chef to run it in his stead that can maintain that level of excellence. The thing is, in a single restaurant, when you're talking about high-end dining, if it's just you and you are the menu and you're the driving force and you don't always have the money to bring that level of person in to like fill in for you, you
have to be there.
You shouldn't. You should be able to take your time over the first 6 months to train that person that, look, the 2 days off or the 1 day I'm off a week, if it's just 1 day where I'm not going to call in, I'm not going to come in, I'm not going to do anything, you should be able to train them for that. Shouldn't be an issue. Worst case scenario, you just close that day.
Mm-mm.
But we go in our day when we're closed. What do? We close. We clean the creosote. You know that there's this. It's kind of a. Well, it's the smoky buildup, right, on the inside of a smoker, or it builds up in the smoker and in the flue, the channel, out to vent. We clean that. There's never a day when we're not thinking about bettering the food, increasing customer service, and the guest satisfaction, the level of guest satisfaction. There's not a single day that goes by that we don't think about that. That was a longer answer than you wanted, but we don't know how to quit.
So how do you become, to get the chef designation? Do you graduate from culinary school, or how do you become a chef and then executive chef? Why do you get those titles?
Okay, so an executive chef is a chef that runs the restaurant on several levels. So you don't just determine the menu, but you're also responsible for the costs, hiring, firing, training, the systems that are involved in running the restaurant, and you work closely with the GM from the food perspective in making sure that everything's profitable, smooth. It's a greased wheel, so to speak, and that. You are basically you are on the level on the food side as the general manager in the front all over. Although the general manager is over everything, and they typically have final say. Then you have chef de cuisine. Chef de cuisine. Now you may not be the executive chef because it may be a restaurant with multiple locations, or it may be a multiple concept group, and you may have a corporate executive chef. But each restaurant has a chef de cuisine. That chef is responsible for the food in that kitchen and the production of it daily, not necessarily the overall numbers, because the executive chef would have put that together. And then you have like sous chef. Sous chef is the under chef or assistant chef. They typically do the bulk of the work and get little credit or none. That's our bitch, basically. So, and then you have like a certified chef, et cetera, et cetera. And then you have station chefs, but that's different. As far as getting an official designation with that title, that has to do, there's only one certifying body in the United States. That's the ACF, the American Culinary Federation. But most chefs are not a part of that. I'd say the majority, if not most, but the majority. And that title's given by the owner of the restaurant upon hiring that individual. So it just depends on what the role open is. But if it's a chef-driven menu, then you're going to have an executive chef. Right at Pio's in California, which was in San Diego, that was owned by the Chart House, but we were a very different and unique restaurant. So the Chart Houses had a kitchen manager. I think they had 13 locations left when I was there, but Pio's had an executive chef because I got to decide and determine the direction the menu went every day. I did the specials and costed everything and was responsible for the overall financial wellness of the kitchen.
So speaking of the dish of the day, like how do you decide that? Is that the leftover steak from yesterday or the leftover fish from the day before?
Length of the legs. Just joking. Sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize. I was actually channeling Brad Staggs for a minute. So it could have several reasons. Can you stay over for a few minutes, Tom? I know you got a lot of work to do. Okay. Look, we're going to do a quick break, but that's a great question because it depends on the day of the week and how well the chef plans. 30 seconds left. I'd like to. All right, we're gonna wait. We're gonna hold off. But hey, if you didn't hear, Chef Cody, Cody Storch. Cody Storch he called in last week. He's changing his podcast up a little bit. It's no longer going to be Reckless because he left the restaurant. He got bought out. He let himself go forward, do some things. Got a child on the way any day. Cody, if you were lucky enough to have a new one in the family, let us know ASAP. And if not, then I need you to call in later this week. We'll set that day. I think it's Thursdays. But hey, we'll be right back. Chef Patrick, Food Biz Pro with Tom T. Join us in 2 minutes.
Follow Chef Patrick Mosher on Twitter @FoodBizPro.
Got an old car? You can donate it, whether it's running or not, to the United Breast Cancer Foundation and save a life. They'll even come and pick it up for free. The United Breast Cancer Foundation has saved hundreds of women's lives through their free or low-cost breast screen exams. But now they need your help. The United Breast Cancer Foundation wants to save more lives through early detection by offering women free or low-cost breast screening exams. And donating your old car, SUV, or truck, whether it's running or not, helps pay for them. Plus, you get a charitable tax deduction. Help the United Breast Cancer Foundation save lives by donating your old car, SUV, or truck. Call now for free pickup. 800-245-0823. 800-245-0823. 800-245-0823. Call right now. That number again is 800-245-0823.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go and pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-452-1075. 800-452-1075. That's 800-452-1075.
Never Forgotten Apparel is more than just a premium women's and men's clothing line. It's a movement to remind us to wear American-made and serve those who serve us. Our heroes. Never Forgotten Apparel gives 20% of their total sales to nonprofits that support homeless veterans and off-duty firefighters, and 50% to individual veterans and firefighters in need nationwide. Check out neverforgottenapparel.com. Use promo code MATT, M-A-T-T, and get 15% off your purchase.
And we're back. That was a quick 2 minutes. Just reading through the comments. Make sure it's white, please. Yep, soft white, as a matter of fact. Just talking about nightlight for Christmas. Yep, soft white. Yeah, I'm terrible at typing. You know, I have only one regret in life. Well, I have a few, but my major regret in life is that I never took typing in high school. So, children, keyboarding, students, pay attention, learn. I'm telling you, it is a necessity in this day and age. Back in my day, we used to actually write things in cursive and print them out and send them to, we would write in print or cursive and send them to people. Nowadays, not so much. As a matter of fact, what are we going to do if electronics go down? Really? We're going to go back to the old manual typewriter, the old mechanical typewriter, non-electric? I can't even setting the margins on a typewriter is more difficult than my crappy writing, trying to decipher that. So I'm just saying, if the internet goes down, you will all be getting very, very poorly written handwritten cards for Christmas. Just saying. Hey, one of the listeners, actually, I have to show you this. This is from Travis Wadkins. And by the way, thank you, Travis. So he sent in, he says, "Howdy, Chef. This is my favorite hot sauce. It's made a few minutes from where I live. They grow a milder version of the ghost pepper. That gives it the flavor of ghost peppers without being crazy spicy. Hope you enjoy." All right. Anyone listen? Look, I like the heat of habanero. That's about as hot as I can go. Serranos, habaneros. Well, so we'll go habaneros hottest, serrano, jalapeno, so on and so forth. You get above the habanero like Scotch bonnet going up. I really don't enjoy that because there's more heat than flavor. And when there's more heat than flavor, I just don't enjoy it. If I have to wait for my mouth to recover to taste the food I've eaten, that's an issue for me. So This is Midland Ghost pepper sauce. Where is this made? Columbus, Georgia. Cool. All right, I'm not going to try it today because I don't have anything to put it on, but I will find something and I will eat this on the air at the towards the end of the show tomorrow, because if it's too hot, then I don't want to be crying on air. And if it tastes great, then I'll take a second bite. Anyway, I appreciate that. Thanks, Travis. All right. So back to what we were talking about. It's funny. Tom brought up this why are chefs not in such great shape? Most chefs overweight. We tend to, again, not eat very healthy. We eat late at night. When we do eat during the day, it's typically over a trash can, and we're eating extremely quickly. You know, we might have 10 minutes between shifts, et cetera, et cetera. And what we do is we will grab whatever we have prepared in the kitchen. For me, I'll give you an example. At POE's, it was always the same thing. A cup of lobster bisque and 2 sourdough rolls. We had these amazing sourdough dinner rolls from the, what was it? There was a bakery in North San Diego County. Anyway, I digress. They sent us the par-baked rolls that were the most amazing sourdough rolls ever, because we couldn't do them in house. There was just too much of a volume, and so to have 2 of those, a couple of pats of butter, and a cup of the lobster bisque, and that would be my meal almost every day. It was fantastic, but not very healthy. That was my lunch dinner in between there somewhere. And then typically at night, if we had prime rib left, which we did this great bone-in prime rib, it was like a 28-ounce cut. Well, ended up 28 to 32 ounces, but it was about a 2-inch thick cut of prime rib with the bone attached. It was fantastic, but I would take, if there was one that was a little more well done, just so I didn't take anything that was servable the next day, I would take that, some what we called Red Bliss mashed potatoes, which are just the red potatoes with the skin left on, with a lot of cream and butter, and that was my dinner. I'd take that home, that was like midnight. So I'd be eating this kind of food, basically mashed potatoes with a ton of cream and butter, and this huge chunk of charred flesh, which was awesome, by the way. That prime rib was one of my favorite meals, and that was it. But now you wonder why. I would wake up as early as possible, typically, take care of my son, and he was little at that time, and, have a cup of coffee. I'd go right to work. I would be at work by 8 or 9 every day, after maybe getting home most days between 11 p.m. and 2 in the morning, depending if I had to close the restaurant. So, that's the schedule. I would sleep on average 5-6 hours, and that's a lot, actually, for me. It was a very unhealthy lifestyle. But I want to relate that to another story here. A lot of late night diners are really upset, and the reason they're upset is that McDonald's, which I'll confess to driving through McDonald's late night drive-through, or their drive-through late at night to have their late night menu. Years ago, it's been a long time actually. I swear, I'm not a big fan of McDonald's now. But anyway, they're limiting their late night choices and they're upgrading their menu boards. So a lot of their frequent late night diners are upset. So McDonald's says there's one reason that they're doing it, and that's so that they can serve the staples as fast as possible from midnight to 5 a.m. So the chain, the fans of the chain aren't buying it, and there's a lot of stuff on Twitter you can read. Here's one that I won't say the name, but it says, "Can someone explain to me the point of at McDonald's late night menu? They aren't exactly curing cancer. In the back, making burgers isn't too labor intensive." Okay, but if you only have one person, it can be. And then it says, "Yo." Oh, here's another late night menu fan apparently. "Yo, what is with McDonald's late night menu? I'm about to have an aneurysm." Here's another one. Yet another. "Thanks a lot at McDonald's. You really know how to screw up a late night snack." And one more. "Hope you don't get a craving for fish or tenders after midnight at McDonald's, cutting overnight menu to 8 items." Yeah. Well, let's go back and read the rest of the story. So I will give you my opinion on whether or not this is to speed up service and maybe quality of food as well. So, so far, I haven't seen the menu change. Apparently, they're taking off the filet of fish. All right, here you go. The company listed 8 late-night items, many of which are actually menu categories, not just single items, that will be available. And besides the Big Mac, the Quarter Pounder, and McNuggets, other things that pass the late-night test include all-day breakfast, although it's unlikely that all 14 minute. I don't think they'll have all 14. They'll have a few. Fries, desserts, Happy Meals, and all coffees and beverages will be available. So, signature crafted recipes like the Artisan Grilled Chicken Sandwich, Buttermilk Crispy Chicken Sandwich, Buttermilk Crispy Tenders, Filet of Fish, and Premium Salads will only be available before midnight, a spokesperson confirmed to Today. Snack wraps, which are available in select regions, and bagel sandwiches also won't be available late at night. That makes perfect sense to me. If you're McDonald's and you're trying to streamline operations, maybe to one person at night, that way you can have one in the drive-thru, and that same person operating the production of the food, or maybe one and one. So you have one person at the drive-thru, one in the back, cooking the food, but then the person in the drive-thru goes back and says, "Just a moment, please," and they run back and they help to package and box or bag things up and hand them out the window. I don't see that as a problem. Look, they're trying to streamline. If you'll notice, everything that they've listed, McNuggets are not a big deal because they're fried, just like the French fries. So if they're going to do fries, they might as well do the McNuggets. And then they have, actually, they're not fried. I forgot. They heat those otherwise. They're not fried. My bad. They used to be, but they're not now. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. They're just streamlining. It's all burgers, no chicken. Taking the chicken off and the salads as well. So if they're having the salads, then the problem with that is they're having to keep these. They're going to have to get in fresh salads either in the morning or in the afternoon to serve overnight, and then you're going to run out of it. And I think people are more upset if it's not on the if you run out of something than if it's not on the menu. And I'm not sure if Tom's coming back or not, so that's fine. Anyway, people are really, really upset. Come on, it's McDonald's, folks. Seriously? I'm not knocking McDonald's, but it's McDonald's. Lighten up, all right? Next, let's see. This is kind of interesting. I haven't read the full article, but I found this really interesting, and I wanted to maybe spend the last hour talking about this, but I think we'll start it now. The title of the article is 10 Reasons Your Food Never Tastes like as Great as Your Grandma's Did. Being a 51-year-old man, let's see, how old would my grandmother be now? She would be old, really, really old. My grandfather was born like 1998, so he would be 100 and a lot. That's like 121. So my grandmother would be 4 years younger. So yeah, old. No one's lived, I think, 117 years. But 10 reasons why my food may not taste as good as hers. Well, I can think of a few reasons. Most of what they cook came from their own garden. So they didn't raise turkeys, so that was bought. But holiday meals, everything else came from their farm. Anything beef, my grandfather raised the cattle. He had a dairy. He had a small dairy. All of that came from the family. Sunday meals, Sunday afternoon dinners, they consisted of pretty much 90% something raised on the farm. So let's go back and see. I mean, I think pretty much everything we had back then was naturally organic, so to speak. But I'm curious now. So, recipe number 1. What? All right, here, I want to read this. Why was your grandma such a darn good cook? Well, she learned how to cook. She learned how to cook in school. That's true. There were a lot of home ec classes back then. As a matter of fact, my daughter Bailey is taking a class called Food Science. It seems more like home ec. They are doing recipes instead of learning why meat browns in a pan because of the caramelization of the sugars on the outside of that product. But anyway. That's right. Most women or young girls had to take, it was a must-take high school course, home ec. Actually, when I was in school, back in the 80s, in junior high, 8th grade, 9th grade, and then going into high school, we had home ec classes, and a lot of the girls and boys took it. In addition to learning how to sew buttons and darn socks, your grandma will also learn the basics of cooking in this class. Yes, even how to boil water correctly. Now, if you want or need to learn how to cook, you have to seek out. You have to seek it out. And that's true. I think if you want to learn how to cook, you need to find those that cook well and have them mentor you. Number one is that she exchanged recipes and cooking tips with her girlfriends. Oh, yeah, I can't tell you how many little recipe cards have gone back and forth between my family members over the years and people outside of the family. As a matter of fact, what was really cool is Ron, his mother-in-law, made a pumpkin roll. It's this beautiful sponge pumpkin cake that was baked on just a baking sheet, a cookie sheet, a baking sheet that had a 1-inch rim on it. And then she made this fantastic spread to put in there and rolled it up like a pinwheel. And I think we just finished it like less than a week ago. Fantastic. But what was really cool is she sent the recipe card with it. She sent multiple copies. These were not copies. Multiple handwritten recipe cards with it. And she does that with everything that she sends somewhere for people to try, whether it's a get-together, a family function, or just friends, or whether it's a larger function like at a church. She sends recipe cards in case anyone wants the recipe, they can have it. I thought it was fantastic. I took the recipe. So every family has that cheesecake recipe that came from your grandma's church. Church friend Carol. Grandma was a good cook because she wasn't afraid to crowdsource. That's true. After she would go to a potluck, she'd exchange the best party recipes with her girlfriends. And that's how her recipe Rolodex grew, with all sorts of delicious pasta dishes and cakes that are better than anything out of a box. And I believe that. Number two, she grew everything herself. And I kind of touched on that point. A house wasn't a home until it had a garden. And that fresh produce made all the difference in Grandma's cooking. A grocery store tomato can be mealy, flavorless, or overly acidic, but a fresh heirloom tomato picked right off the vine made for a pasta sauce that's beyond comparison. That's true. You know, my dad actually had a bee box out by, there was this like a half telephone pole. You know, it's one of those shorter poles that you mount a light in your backyard if you have a larger property. You folks that have lived in the country or grew up in the country know what I'm talking about. But he had a bee box right next to that. I remember that. And he would bring in the honeycomb. And if you've never had a honeycomb with the wax honeycomb with the honey in it, and you cut off a chunk and you chew it up, and then you spit the wax out, but a little bit always gets stuck in your teeth, you have really missed something. Now, I do know that you can go to a lot of gourmet retailers. You can go to H-E-B if you're in Texas. Go to the H-E-B Central Market locations. And you might probably go to Whole Foods, perhaps. I'm not sure, for a more nationwide chain. But you can buy there's a little clear plastic box. And the Savannah Bee Company, they have this fantastic Tupelo honey that is out of this world. It comes in a tapered bottle. But one form this comes in, they have a regular wide mouth jar. Then they have this tapered bottle. It's a little expensive. The Tupelo tree only blooms for a very short period of time every year. But the Savannah Bee Company, they also have the whole honeycomb. It's awesome. And I'm telling you, if you have not had that as a treat, for me, that was a huge treat as a child. We would get honeycomb, whether it was ours or from other people, and cut a little piece off. That was like a midsummer day's treat or like a fall treat. That was like, it was dessert sometimes. It was awesome. So, yeah, I mean, think about it. If you've had a garden and you can recall the taste, the flavor, the texture of those items that you ate out of your garden compared to what you get in a grocery store, there's a huge difference. There's a reason that the tomatoes and the lemons and the limes that you find in a grocery store are called packer, because they were meant for shipping. They were bred with crossbred with or cross pollinated with another variety of tomato or lemon or lime, or whatever the item may be, and that way they can ship long distances without being bruised, without ripening fully, so that when you get them to their destination, you can ripen them artificially and then sell them looking beautifully vine ripened, but have no flavor. And if you ever had those tomatoes that are kind of mealy, there's a couple of reasons for that. One, could have had too much water. 2, or they could have been too dry. But 2, they could have been mishandled temperature-wise. So if they were still a little too cool, and like you may have had a tomato in the bottom of the bottom drawers of your refrigerator, but then you put something on the top shelf that blocked the airflow, right? And so what happens? Everything in the freezer, that's what happens. You block the airflow in the freezer, so everything down below in the lower compartment freezes. That can also turn your tomatoes really mealy. As a matter of fact, it's that's one of my least favorite things to occur. In other words, it pisses me off when the tomatoes start to freeze in the fridge. Those little slide out produce bins are very important to keeping them fresh, and I always keep that vent open. Not always. That's wrong. But we can go through that another time. Anyway, so, fresh, hand-picked product from the vine is by far the best. Better than almost anything you can get in a store. So, and her food, number 3, and made her food from scratch. Yes, Grandma did make her food from scratch. So what goes great with irresistible sauce, meaning they made sauce from the tomatoes in the garden, a pasta that was made from scratch. Grandma knew the importance of making everything by hand. Sure, you can buy a loaf of bread at the grocery store, but it's nothing like bread she made at home. And if your grandma, sausages weren't something, and for your grandma, sausages weren't just something you bought by the pack. She would season the pork meat, stuff the sausages herself, and then fry them up for a supper. And that's true. I mean, there wasn't a 1,000-pound batch of sausage that was then cased, shipped to or packed up 4 in a pack, and then shipped to the grocer where they labeled it with the date, or it might have been labeled by the production date elsewhere, but then the sell-by date at the grocery store. I mean, that's absolutely true. And the care taken to season things to perfection. Let's talk about this on a deeper level, or a more current scenario. So I spoke last week with Chef Janelle Witt. She won Hell's Kitchen. And we all watch this competitive television, food competitions. What do we have? We have MasterChef, Top Chef, MasterChef, Top Chef, Hell's Kitchen. There used to be Knife Fight with hosted by Ian Hall. He was winner of season 2 of Top Chef. You have all these competitions. And the biggest thing I see happening is that the chefs don't taste their food. I guarantee you, Grandma tasted it every step of the way. Every step of the way. So when I make a batch of sausage or a batch of hamburger meat to make meatballs or whatever I'm going to make, what I do is I take, and I learned this from a very wise chef very early on, you take a little piece of that before you form all the meatballs, before everything else. You take a little bit of that mixture. You flatten it out, you put it on a piece of tin foil, and you bake it in the oven. And when it's done, or you fry it in a pan, when it's done, you taste it, and you say, that's what it's going to taste like that when it's, fully cooked. Is the seasoning on, or is it off? And you adjust. And if it's too salty, you make adjustments. If it's not salty enough, you make adjustments. If it needs more herbs, you make adjustments. The thing is, if you're going to serve something to someone else, especially being judged in a competition or by your family at a Sunday meal, you taste the food every step of the way, right? You taste the food. All right. Any of you home foodie chefs, aspiring professional chefs in a restaurant, cooks that want to be chefs, culinary students, people that think they want to go to culinary school, taste your food. It's the most important factor in whether or not what you envision is what you serve every step of the way. Go ahead, watch Chopped. Watch Chopped. I don't know what night it's on. I don't watch it very often, although I think I'm going to apply tonight. Watch Chopped and see what happens. See what happens. Most people don't taste their food. And then you always prepare one extra. Always make one more than you need, because what happens if you drop something on the floor? Or what happens if when you try to take it off the tray that you baked it on, it sticks and it breaks? If it was something that wasn't like a solid chicken breast or something, what happens? You're screwed, right? Always make one extra and always taste your food. All right. Next, Grandma was not afraid of fat. All right. If you've gone to culinary school, one of the first things they teach you is that fat equals flavor. It does. That coating on your tongue, all the taste buds, fat equals flavor. So what does that mean? Well, she wasn't afraid of fat. And think about it. How many of us use bacon grease as a cooking medium anymore, as the fat? Very few. Or, well, chefs use duck fat a lot, but duck fat, oh, man. Or schmaltz. If you're, even if you're not in a Jewish household, schmaltz is like the rendered fat of chicken skin. It's unbelievably flavorful, right? It's incredible. But, you can make a great pie crust using vegetable shortening or cold butter. But the best crust is made using lard, and that's true. Oh, my gosh, I wish, McDonald's used to use lard for their fries, and now they use this, and I don't go to McDonald's. I used to love their fries every once in a while. I don't go anymore. But really, they used to fry their fry. They deep fat fry their fries in lard. Okay, beef fat, rendered beef fat. Nobody does anymore, right? So Granny wasn't afraid of a little lard. It's not the healthiest fact in the world, but flavor comes from fat. See, I didn't make it up. Instead of using a spritz of vegetable oil, which is spritz is. That's funny how we use that in English too. But spritz means to spray, spritzen in German. Who'd have thunk? But flavor comes from fat. Instead of using a spritz of vegetable oil, your grandma would fry her morning eggs using bacon grease. Damn straight. There's a really funny meme. It's got this big boxer, which it's an old school, maybe from the 1800s picture, black and white of this guy standing with his fist like this, ready to duke it out, and he's got this big mustache, and it says, there are many of them. My favorite, though, is, grease burns? No. We call those bacon kisses. Yes, bacon kisses. I'll have to find it and post it again. It was one of my favorite. One of the very first ones I posted on the Spoony Radio Facebook page, as a matter of fact. All right, so we talked about her frying her eggs in bacon grease. She also knew that chicken fat, see, I knew it, schmaltz. Chicken fat is the secret to great savory dishes. If you feel like your food is flavorless, consider adding in some fat. Grandma knew that. We talked about this a little while back. And that was not me. That's the bench squeaking, by the way. I spoke about Italians and olive oil. Your nonna, your grandmother in Italy. If you think that your tomato sauce is a bit flat, isn't as flavorful as you'd like, the typical Italian tomato sauce, we're talking, it doesn't matter, Sicily, I don't care what part of Italy, typically per person, the amount of olive oil added is 2 tablespoons, 2 to 3 tablespoons. That's over an ounce. An ounce is 2 tablespoons. On average, 2 to 3, which is like an ounce and a quarter, ounce and a half, right, of olive oil per serving. So if you wonder why your sauce is falling flat, that's part of it. All right, so she wasn't afraid of fat or seasoning. Sure, that salt isn't particularly great for your blood pressure, but that's not true. If you go back and look at that, some of the studies, they're a little off-putting. They actually aren't accurate. The people with highest blood pressure are those with the lowest salt consumption. I don't know if you've seen that before, and we're talking about iodized salt. But like cooking with fat, Grandma knew that flavor was in the seasoning. She'd salt her pasta water liberally before boiling her noodles, and she generously seasoned the roast chicken and the other weeknight dinners. Of course, your grandma also knew how to use paprika, garlic, parsley, and other seasonings to enhance a boring old chicken breast. If you want your food to be flavorful, don't forget the basics, salt and pepper. They go a long way. That is absolutely true. And the only rule for pepper is that white food, white pepper, not white food, black pepper. The flavor is the same. The consistency is different. But the only reason you use white pepper is that you don't want to change the color of mashed potatoes. You don't want black flecks in there, right? And the black pepper is typically more finely, or the white pepper is always more finely ground. It's like a powder. It blends in better. So, but that's true. I mean, man, if you knew the amount of sodium and other seasonings, why do I always get a call right in the middle of the show? Kima, Texas, must be a sales call. Sorry, not today. Seriously, though, there's always much more sodium and other seasoning than you think in your food at a restaurant. And I'm sorry to say that, but you may want to ask, right, what you may want your, if you're on a low sodium diet, ask your server to ask the chef, is this truly low sodium? Because you'd be surprised how much salt and other flavor sodium, seasoning, is hidden in the side dishes of any entree at a restaurant. All right, so she knew how to make ingredient swaps. That's true. Very important. If Grandma missed a pantry staple during her weekly grocery shopping, she didn't have to forego dinner just because she didn't have buttermilk for her fried chicken recipe. She knew to add a tablespoon of lemon juice to 1 cup of milk. That's right. That's how you make curdle the milk, make buttermilk. When you opened up your grandma's cabinet, she had a handy cutout with all these swaps. That's true. We don't have that anymore. I remember my grandmother's refrigerator had a recipe conversion chart that had, not recipe, but measurement. It had ounces to grams, grams to ounces, and then it had cup to milliliter conversions and a couple of other quick hacks that she had handwritten on there. Anyway, all right, well, ready to go to a top of the hour break. I like this. It's a great list, actually. It's very accurate. Hey, if you're just joining us, Randy White is going live today. There'll be an hour break between my show and his. He'll go live at 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern. And, should be a really good show. Into the Fire with Randy White. First initial episode today. I'm Chef Patrick Mosher, the Food Biz Pro. If you're watching, keep watching. If you're listening, keep listening. If you're not, join in now. Listen or starve.
This is the only 24-hour take-anywhere platform dedicated to food and fun. We're Spoony.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. President Trump has designated Iran's Revolutionary Guard a foreign terrorist organization. Military affairs analyst, retired Lieutenant Colonel Robert McGinnis says that there's no question the Guard is a terrorist group.
IRGC has blood, American blood on its hands, certainly in Iraq, and likely working with Saddam forces to a certain degree, but more with the Medellin after our invasion in 2003.
It's an unprecedented move because the U.S. had never before used the designation for an entire foreign government entity. Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen is resigning from the Trump administration.
After months of enduring on-again, off-again criticism from President Trump, Secretary Nielsen is leaving the Department of Homeland Security. The president has long been unhappy with the increase of migrants coming across the southern U.S. border, which has put pressure on the Department of Homeland Security. On Twitter, Mr. Trump confirmed that Nielsen is out and that Kevin McAleenan, the Commissioner of Customs and Border Protection, will take over as the acting DHS Secretary. Greg Clugston, Washington.
It's also being reported today that Secret Service Director Randolph Alice is expected to step down. Also at townhall.com, Senate Republicans hoping to use newly passed rules for the swift confirmation this week of judges and other high-level Trump nominees.
First up will be Daniel Desmond Domenico for the U.S. District Court of Colorado. The Senate hopes to confirm 3 other district court judges this week. Other high-level Trump nominees waiting for a nod from the Senate include Cheryl Stanton to be administrator of the Wage and Hour Division for the Department of Labor, and John Abizaid to serve as ambassador to Saudi Arabia. Bob Agnew reporting.
On Wall Street, stocks are mixed. The Dow is down 121 points. The NASDAQ is up 2. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Take the pain out of ordering your diabetic testing supplies with Diathrive. Diathrive ships the testing supplies you need directly to you when you need them. Best of all, with plans starting as low as $8 a month, Diathrive is probably going to cost you less than what you're paying today. Diathrive is so convinced that you'll love their service, they're offering your first month of supplies free. Simply type the code DOC, D-O-C, at checkout. Diathrive.com. That's D-I-A, thrive.com.
Have you done it? You catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror?
I'm one of those people you don't want to see naked.
Yeah, most of us. But I mean, you look and you're going, what the?
I know.
How did I get to whatever?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, it's horrible. Hey there, it's Doc Thompson and Brad Staggs to tell you about a different way to shed those pounds. This is brand new tech. It's only been around for a couple of years or so. It was based on research from the University of California that said there's a molecule called OEA that's found naturally in your body. It produces it in the Mediterranean diet, that when taken in concentrated amounts, it will actually make you feel fuller and boost your metabolism.
I've lost about 10 pounds so far.
It's amazing.
It
now,
really is cool.
A company said, we can take this to market and make this great product that'll help you. It's called RiduZone, RIDU Zone.com, RIDU Zone.com. It's Brad's worked. It's worked for Brad's worked for me, countless other people. Go to riduzone.com and try today. You're going to love it. riduzone.com. Remember that, RIDU zone.com.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-570-6630. 800-570-6630. That's 800-570-6630. Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
Yes, we're back. Course 3. Yes, the third course of today's Food Biz Pro. I hate Food Biz Pro Show. Anyway, the show with Chef Patrick here, your host, Food Biz Pro. Man, I have a lot of friend requests on Facebook I have not gotten to. I'm sorry, everyone. I only have 84 right now, which is better than last week. I had like 116. So my apology. I will get to them after the show. But in the meantime, let's see. I believe somebody had a question, but I'm not sure what it was. Something about beer. I can tell. Oh, you know what is the craft beer festival? The craft beer is a convention festival goings on. Is actually the craft beer brewers event is going on in Denver this week. I want to say it starts. Well, let's find out when it starts. And then we'll go back to Grandma's keys to why she was such a great cook. The Craft Brewers. Yeah, conference. There we go. See, conference. Those little English words that evade my understanding. Okay, so the 8th through the 11th. Today's the... Oh! Is it today? Damn. Well, let's see. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. I would love to get up there for a day, but I don't think I'm going to, which means we'll have to have, Richard Brandt, Tech-Roo? Richard Brandt, we will be calling you for an update, or we'll have you call in maybe Wednesday or Thursday for an update. I want to find out what's new in the tech of BrewTech. I really do. I want to know what makes it easy for the home brewer to get in the game and have some fun. You don't have to want to sell your beer, just to brew it yourself. I'll be honest with you, I've never brewed my own beer. I've made my own wine. Not one time have I brewed my own beer. That's kind of a fail. What kind of chef doesn't brew their own? I guess if all my friends brew and I get it for free and I don't have to worry about all the work that goes into brewing myself, I guess it's not a fail. That's a win on my part. Okay, so I'm actually the winner, and all those suckers that feed me free beer, keep doing it. You're my friends. You're my friends. Give me free beer, please, please, please. Something else before we get back to Grandma. I want to say it's not on the National Day calendar, but I want to say today is National Beer Day. Now I don't know which calendar that's on. Today is National Beer Day because we have like 15 of those a year. For some of us, let's see. Oh, it was yesterday. That's right. So yesterday was National Beer Day. If you missed it, well, drink a beer today. Send me one, please. I like beer. If you like beer, drink a beer. Beer's a tricky thing. There's so many really not great beers out there, but man, so many that are good. I like the small batch stuff. As a matter of fact, there was a raspberry vanilla, was it? I tried it on the Beer for Breakfast segment with Matt Locke a few months ago. We had this, it was from Odell's Brewery. They did a small batch. Odell's? No, it was New Belgium Brewery in Colorado. They did a very small batch. No, it was Odell's. It was a raspberry vanilla porter or something like that. Yeah, porter. It was one of the most incredible beers I've tasted. It was a one-off. It was something they did experimentally. It was just one single batch, but holy moly, that was incredible. One of my all-time favorite beers actually comes from Odell's. It's 90 shilling. If you haven't had it, try it. Man, really good stuff. All right, let's get back to Grandma. Today is, however, is our food. Oh, it's National Empanada Day. That damn empanada beat me out at the squirrel competition. There was the World Squirrel Championship of 2016. Bentonville, Arkansas. Joe Wilson, the host, and MC, and the coordinator of the entire event, who also happens to run the squirrel dairy, by the way, in the same region. Yes, there really is a squirrel dairy. I'm not telling you how much milk they produce, but it's very little, if any. But National Empanada Day. These guys made an empanada. They handmade the dough. They prepared the squirrel all right. I'm telling you, I'd have thought it was rabbit or chicken or something else that wasn't squirrel. But they don't call it the chicken of the tree for nothing. It was delicious. But National Empanada Day, April 8th, recognizes a food holiday, National Empanada Day. If you don't know what an empanada is, it's basically like a popover. If you think about a calzone in Italian, well, this is it for in the Latino or the Hispanic realm of food. It's typically a semi-flaky crust. It's a dough that's rolled out flat in a circle. You stuff it with, said vegetables, beef, chicken, whatever your filling of choice is, and then you fold it back over. You crimp the edges so it comes out like like grandma's baked dessert pies. Those little hand pies they make down here in the South. Basically the same thing, but savory. And they're made by, so here you go. Empanadas are made by folding the dough or bread around a seasoned stuffing. The filling is usually made of meat, cheese, vegetables, or fruits, but may be made of other ingredients. I did not know this. Okay. A cookbook published in 1520 in Catalan. If you don't know where Catalan is, it's part of the Spanish domain. It is a region in Spain. And if you've ever heard people speak proper Spanish, they have a lisp. It's called the Catalan lisp. All right. And that lisp is, yes, lisp. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm telling you, I may not be able to speak Spanish, but I know the Catalan lisp. All right. Sí, señor. Yeah, sí, not C, it's sí. I'm telling you, go to Barcelona, Spain. Barcelona. There's a reason to say Barcelona. So apparently at one point, the hierarchy, the king, queen, the upper echelon of the leadership in Spain was from Catalan. And that family had a genetically they had a lisp, right? And so everyone really wanted to sound like they were part of the family proper, right? And so they falsely developed this lisp. The Catalan lisp is, if you listen to people in all Spanish-speaking countries, for the most part, even in Mexico, Ecuador, I'm serious, Colombia. If you go to Ecuador, so many people, my family's from Spain, España. I'm not lying. Look, Jaime, look, we did a huge project. You, Barry, and I, we did a huge project on, as a matter of fact, you started the whole thing. You and Barry, the whole thing in the hospital, it all got going, the whole Bella Bay seafoods. You live in Ecuador. You went to school in Boston. You and I spoke about it for a long time. I'm serious. This is artificial. The España, gracias, that is a man-made malfunction of the mouth, so to speak. Well, that sounded interesting. Kind of like when Trey Chapman says, it's like a rodeo in your mouth, right? Going to Flavor Town. He's trying to come up with something that would equal Going to Flavor Town by Guy Fieri. And he kept with, it's like a rodeo in your mouth. I love the expression. He hasn't said it often enough, but that's true. So anyway, back to empanadas. A cookbook published in 1520 in Catalan, Spain, the Libre del Koch, Koch in German, Koch, by Ruperto de Nola. I know my Spanish sucks. You don't have to correct me. Mentions empanadas filled with seafood. 1520. So that means this must go back even further. If it's in a cookbook, it typically exists for 50, maybe 100 years prior, minimum. And who published cookbooks in 1520? 1492, Columbus lands. 1520. Yeah, so I have to go back and read 1491 If you've never read the book, it's basically a history of that predates the Columbus days. And no, it's not. It's a depiction of life based on facts, both post-Columbus and pre-Columbus, based on the written history of South America prior to our landing. Our landing meaning Columbus. I'm not of Spanish descent, but prior to Columbus landing in the New World. I'm curious. I need to go back and read that because I'm curious. When did they actually start writing these cookbooks or these in 1520? Who the hell wrote a cookbook in 1520 in Spain? I'm sorry. This is not angry Patrick. This is inquisitive Patrick, not angry Chef Patrick. Inquisitive. Who wrote a cookbook in 1520? I need to find the oldest cookbook written. Oldest cookbook in existence. Because I don't believe 1520 sounds like, I'm not sure. All right. So in the southern and southwestern United States, empanadas are called creoles. No. They're called meat pies. Meat pies are like Jamaican, the islands. They're half-circle flaky crust filled with seasoned pork, beef, or chicken, and cheese. And typically the ones that are Creole-based, with the ones that are influenced by the islands, are very spicy. They're awesome. Jamaican meat pies, yummy stuff, man. Yummy stuff. Go to Brooklyn, any of the boroughs. Go to the boroughs in New York. Try them out. Damn good stuff. Tasty. And if you try the ones that they have for sale or that for tasting at the NRA show coming up at the end of May in Chicago at McCormick Place, man, it'll blow your socks off. They are spicy though. Man, they put some spicy stuff in there. I'm sure it's got to be Scotch bonnet chili in there. All right, so they are filled with, again, pastry filled with fresh or reconstituted dry fruit, such as apples, apricots. In the south, wait. In the southeastern United States, empanadas are referred to as fried pie. Okay, that's true. Fried pie is, as a matter of fact, I had one today on the way in today. I stopped at a gas station, and they had Mama's fried pies. They did. I got one that was lemon curd inside. And I'll tell you, lemon curd is one of my favorite all-time recipes. I'll share my version of the recipe in a few minutes. But fried pie, and they are a pastry filled with fresh or reconstituted dry fruit such as apples, apricots, peaches, sweet potatoes, and then fried. In New Mexico, it is a winter tradition to make sweet meat empanadas for Christmas. They are made sweet meat. I've never had those. Greg Cochran, if you're listening, he would be the GM of River Grill in not Bentonville. It's the next town north up there, somewhere in northwest Arkansas. They are made with ground pork, sugar, pinon nuts, cinnamon, cloves, and nutmeg, sealed in a tortilla-like dough, and then deep fried in lard. Damn, lard is the best. It may not be the best for heart health, but it tastes good. Greg, I need you to confirm this. Greg Cochran, if you're listening, call in. Not today. The phones aren't on. But text me, call me. Let's set up a time for the call. I've never had sweet meat pies. Never. I've had mincemeat pies, which were sweet and typically with ground up raisins and dates and other stuff in there. I've never had sweet meat empanadas. So anyway, ow. I'm too damn clumsy to be. We need to turn like the video off and just do audio, because if you're watching the show, a couple of weeks ago you could see me trip over the cord that goes to the headphones because I set them on my left, which is the only way to get out of this bench. And I got it wrapped around my ankle, and I didn't fall all the way down. I just kind of stumbled. But good thing I didn't go for television. Anyway, there are a ton of different empanada recipes. As a matter of fact, I'm going to copy this link from cooks.com, and here are a great number of humble pie, 50 torts, quiches, pizzas, and empanadas, all in one. There you go. I'm going to post that right now. All right, let's get back to Grandma. Grandma's cooking. Why was everything so good? She grew everything herself. We talked about that. She made everything from scratch, blah, blah, blah. She wasn't afraid of fat, and neither am I. That's why if you're looking at the side view right now, I've gained a couple pounds back, but who cares? It's okay. Seasoning, yes. She was not afraid of salt, that's for sure. Matter of fact, my grandmother's, my father's mother's cooking was right on the verge of too salty for me every bite, but it was right there. It was salty, but not too salty. I don't think I ever turned down a bite from her. And Tom, where the hell did you go, man? Tom, don't make me scream like Matt Locke over the top of the ceiling. We didn't answer your question. He's on the phone making sales. I'm just giving a hard time. All right. So she knew how to make ingredient swaps. Yes. Okay, we got that. Oh. So this is important. If you don't cook much, this is a tough one because I can't teach you this. This is learned by practice. She cooked by touch and taste. Do you ever see that? Grandma doesn't have a recipe written down? All the time, right? It's you look at my mother's recipes even. One handful, right? One handful of flour, a pinch of salt, a dash of this, 2 sprinkles of this. Enough to moisten. Yeah, look. Hey, by the way, millennials and younger and older, moist is not a bad word, okay? What do you want to say? It's wet in your mouth? No, it's moist. Trust me, moist is okay. It's okay to say moist. It isn't some dysfunctional family heirloom left over from the bygone days of something terrible in the past. Moist is moist. It means moist, damn it. There's moisture held within a product that you put in your mouth and eat or you touch. It's moist. I'm sorry. Sorry. It's like molten. You ever seen the movie Chef? It's molten. It's not undercooked. It's molten. It means liquid in the center. Molten. All right? If you haven't seen the movie Chef, great movie. And I'm sorry, that was no, not Angry Patrick. That was still Passionate Patrick there. Moist. How can you throw away a perfectly good word? That's like jumping out of a perfectly good airplane with a parachute on your back. You got 2 wings to glide you down. If that's not excitement enough, just go do something else. Jump out of an airplane. Yes, I would go. I would go skydiving. Don't tell anyone. I would go skydiving. But, yes. Why jump out of a perfectly good airplane? Every pilot's thought every time a jumper jumps. So she cooked by touch and taste. All right. The moist thing, look, folks, it's real. Right? If you baked a cake, it turned out too dry. You wanted it more moist next time. So what did you add? A couple of things. More fat, more sugar, more moisture. One of those. That's all you had to add. Sugar, by the way, it counts as a liquid when you bake. It liquefies, thus adding to the moisture content and the steam that arises inside of a baked product. So it either rises or doesn't rise as much as it would have without the sugar. But yes, sugar counts as a liquid in baking. That's why when you start to substitute these other products, you have to add and compensate in another realm. If you're going to use an artificial sweetener or a different sweetener that's not artificially created, then it's very important. But she cooked by touch and taste. A meat thermometer may be the most accurate way to measure your steak's temperature when it's cooked to a perfect medium rare, but your grandma didn't need crazy kitchen gadgets to make her food correctly. She cooked by taste, touch, and texture. Ever wonder why grandma's crepes are amazing, but she doesn't have a recipe? It's because she tasted the batter and developed it over time. That's not the only reason. So I used to I worked at a place called Sushi Den in Denver. Sushi Den, owned by Toshi and his brother. Well, Toshi's the owner. His brother Yasu also worked there. His wife also worked there. One of the longest standing sushi restaurants in the country. They celebrated the 30th anniversary in 2014, December, right around there. What an amazing restaurant. What a legacy. Anyway, they have trained more sushi chefs than probably any other sushi restaurant I know of in the country. They're a big restaurant, man. To work there, let me tell you, you have to bust your ass every day, every minute of every shift. And if you don't survive. You don't. But it was the best experience, the best learning experience in my life ever, thanks to Wayne Conwell of Sushi Sasa, the owner, the badass chef, the man that is the man. I'm telling you, that guy, I speak Japanese, he speaks fluent Japanese. I do sushi, he perfects sushi. That guy actually wrote a resume. He didn't know what he was going to do, right? Wayne Conwell was going to leave the business. He was tired. He'd been working there for like 7 years at the previously mentioned place, Sushi Den in Denver. So it's on Pearl Street, by the way. If you go to Denver, you never been. I don't care. Go to Sushi Den in Denver. I'm telling you, phenomenal. They may not be famous, but damn, they make money, and they do some really amazing sushi. So Wayne, at the end of his tenure there, he was wondering what to do, kind of burnt out, and he sent his resume to Chef Morimoto, Iron Chef Morimoto, and was accepted. And he worked for him for several years. Just grew his knowledge and increased his mastering of this craft. And he opened a place when he came back called Sushi Sasa in Denver. And if you don't go there, if you're in Denver, you're stupid. Either there or Sushi Den. There are a number of other phenomenal places there with great sushi chefs. Almost everyone originated, though, at Sushi Den, I have to tell you. Wayne Conwell, a little younger than I am. That guy, master of his trade. If you go back on my personal page, Patrick Mosher, on Facebook, go back and look about maybe almost 2 years ago to the month. Coffee's coming back. Ooh, little gurgle there. Anyway, go back, check it out. I do this thing. Kent Cottle, great friend of mine. I was up there with Z Catering and Events with him in Fort Collins, and he said, "Hey, I'll film you." I say, "Hey, we're at Sushi Sasa." I start the whole thing off in English, and then I switch to Japanese, and the rest of the entire interview is done in Japanese. Because how often do you see two white guys speaking in Japanese for the entire interview? It was awesome. So I asked him in Japanese, "Hey, what's fresh for today? What do you recommend?" And he goes, "Hey, my name is Wayne Conwell." So, and he goes through the whole list. They have this, not Izumi Dai, but this Madai. It's a great, like Thai. It's like a snapper, deep water snapper. And he talks about that in Japanese and what's freshest and best. And I say, "Hey, if you didn't catch all that, stop by, talk to Chef Wayne, ask him what's best. Just, eat what they give you. You'll be..." Anyway, it was really funny. If you spoke Japanese, it was probably a lot funnier. But, maybe for those of you who don't, it wasn't that funny. But Wayne taught me to make sushi by feel. Okay? By feel. So, and the way he taught me that is I'd been learning sushi in Japan. But when I started working with Wayne, sorry, I got to be proper here because we're talking about sushi. I got to pay respect. I had to make 200 to 300, sometimes 500 balls of rice in my right hand every night. Just make them and weigh them. I would put them up on a scale, and if it wasn't the right weight, I had to break it apart and start again. So until I got at least 200 correct a night, typically 500, then I wasn't allowed to make sushi on the counter. And not only that, it wasn't just the weight of the rice, the number of grains of rice that were in this little ball of rice that you're going to make nigiri, the pressed in the hand sushi. Then I had to practice making those over and over again using not fish, but scraps of paper. So we would cut like the New Times. I forgot what it's called in Denver. It's like the Westward, maybe. I think it's called the Westward. The New Times was the original out of L.A. and then Phoenix, and it went across the country. But everybody has this same. It's the same publication with a different name. All right, Phoenix. Yeah, Phoenix was the New Times. L.A.'s the New Times. Westward. Yeah. So you would cut these pieces of paper that were the same size as the little slice of fish that you put on the hand press sushi, and I would practice day in, day out, day in, day out. At the end of the shift, I'd spend an extra hour. I would take the rice home, and as a matter of fact, the owner of the restaurant said, if you take the rice home, the rice, it's yorokobu. It jumps with joy that you are reusing the rice. All the leftover rice, I'd take it home, practice all night long, and the rice was happy. Because in Japan, rice is priceless. That's how samurai, the warriors for the samurai, or the samurais were paid in rice. Like the Romans were paid in salt, right? So anyway, Grandma did the same thing. Grandma cooked by taste and practice over time. It takes time to perfect a recipe. Not like they talk about the crepe recipe here. Well, Grandma probably knew that after you make your crepe batter and you mix it and you have it in the pan there, what do? You let it rest. You let it rest. Why? Because it relaxes the gluten. Then you have this really nice, soft crepe that's not, it's more, it's got the texture of a pancake, but it's super thin instead of bread, like a tortilla, right? You let the gluten rest. But Grandma did that through practice. All right, let's see if there's, how many more? She cooked with love. Oh, man. Somebody else said that the other day. Who was I talking to? That they should put on there with the ingredient list of recipes, or the local ingredients, the local farmer, the chicken, where your chicken sourced from. That it should put in there also as the last ingredient should be love, or maybe the first ingredient. It makes a difference, right? And it may sound cheesy, but Grandma cooked with love. I mean, really, what more important thing could you cook with than love? All right, getting a little sappy now. We'll be right back. There's a quick break for 2 minutes. Wow, already 2 minutes and 20. Third course is done, folks. Come back for the final course of the day, dessert. We'll see you in 2 minutes.
Follow Chef Patrick Mosher on Twitter at Food Biz Pro.
If you are trying to quit drinking or doing too many drugs, listen to me. You don't know me and we'll never meet. I had a problem like you once. I drank and used to party a little too much till it got out of control and almost ruined my life. I realized I needed help to fix my problem before it totally destroyed me. If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone, you need to call the National Treatment Advisors. They'll immerse you into a 30-day program to replace your old habits with new habits and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more. 800-296-1252. 800-296-1252. 800-296-1252. 800-296-1252.
It looks like you're losing.
I am.
Are you losing weight?
I am losing. I've lost about 10 pounds.
How are you doing it?
It's a funny name, but I've done it with Riduzone. RIDUzone.com, and the stuff works. It's, you get into all that, the molecule this and the found in that. All I can tell you is it makes you feel full, and it keeps your mind off of wanting to overeat.
And also boosts your metabolism, so you're burning more.
Yeah,
Try it today. It's going to work for you like it's worked for Brad and countless other people. Riduzone.com. RIDUzone.com.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month, based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395.
And we're back for dessert. Fourth course. I suppose I should talk about something sweet, but I mean, we'll keep talking about Grandma. What's more sweet than Grandma? Really? Okay. Unless like on 2.5 Men, if your mother was Charlie, your grandmother was Charlie Sheen's mother in the show, maybe not so sweet. Poor Jake. No wonder he ended up like he did. But really, let's go back. There's one last lesson that Grandma left us, right? One reason why her food tasted better than ours, and that was she had plenty of experience. Well, she did, right? Back then, no one ate out every night. No one. Well, very few people. Especially if your grandma if Grandma had all these other qualities, they raised their own food, they cook with love. They had this exchange, this recipe exchange, network that they had access to either through church or other social activities, or family even. Think about that. Well, she had plenty of experience. Grandma wasn't just cooking with love. She was cooking with experience. All right. By the time you were eating your grandma's food, she'd been making those same family recipes for decades. After you make a lasagna a few dozen times, you're going to be pretty darn good at it. And that's true. By the time you're grandma or grandpa, or by the time you're a grandma or a grandpa, you'll have the same set of skills. And who knows, you may be cooking recipes that are even better than your grandpa's. Ooh. Recipes that are even better than we'll cover that one next week. Classic Southern recipes that are better than Grandma's. Wow, there's a shrimp and grits picture of shrimp and grits at the top of that page. That is to die for. Man. I'm not sure. Okay, We'll have to look. These are obviously new versions of old dishes, and we won't talk about that right now. We're going to go back because there was something else I want to talk about. There's mealtime right nowadays. Mealtime is very casual. Whether we're at a restaurant or at home, we tend to break some of the rules, some of the long-standing, right? Some of the long-standing common knowledge, the common courtesies paid at the meal table. At the dinner table, right? And look, I even take if I'm wearing a baseball cap, I've been out working. I don't care how bad I look. I don't care how sweaty I am. I don't care how bald my head gets. I take my hat off at the dinner table. Always. I do. I remember one time, I was maybe 13, 14. I came to the dinner table. I used to, I wrestled for a very long time for Chandler High School and junior high school. And then I wrestled before that. I think I started when I was in second grade. But I came to the dinner table after I came home from wrestling practice. My mother and sister had already eaten dinner. I took a quick shower, which was the normal thing. And I came to dinner with wearing my shorts without a shirt. And my mother, she went ballistic. How could you not wear a shirt at the dinner table? And she was right. I was the only one there, but still, it was the dinner table. So I left the table with my tail between my legs. I went back, put a T-shirt on, came back out, and all was fine. And I got to eat dinner. But really, there are some bygone lessons that we can, or standards, rather, of the days of old that we could learn from. So, and there's one that I need to do. I need to write Valerie and Doug Sokolowski. I need to write you a thank you card for this wonderful dinner that you treated me to with Tom and Terry. And I'm sure that they've already sent a thank you card off. I need to handwrite a thank you note and send it off. I will do that today or tomorrow. I'll write it tonight. I'll send it tomorrow. I appreciate your hospitality. It was very kind and generous. And no, as a matter of fact, Valerie, you asked me if I'd use the olive oil that you gave me that evening. I have not yet used it, although I will use it this week, I promise, in at least one dish. As a matter of fact, I'll serve it on the air. Okay? Ooh, I need to make that Sicilian eggplant and cherry tomato dish that I've spoken of with the sliced garlic and fresh basil in there. I'll make that because I can do that in an electric skillet because I don't have a full kitchen. As I knock things over on my desk. No, I have not eaten the Midland Ghost pepper sauce. Midland Ghost pepper sauce, although I really want to try it. I took it out of the bag. I smelled it. I really want to taste it. I took the wrapper off, but I'm afraid that I'll cry on the air and the fans will make fun of me. So, real quick, when I make that Sicilian-style eggplant and the cherry tomato dish, I'm going to make some of this nostalgia, this SpoonyWildRice.com. I'm gonna make some of the wild rice, just the plain wild rice. And maybe I'll make this is the wild rice pan bread. So this is white cheddar. That would be delicious. White cheddar pan bread with the cherry tomato, the eggplant saute on there. I'm making myself hungry. A little fresh basil on there. That sounds delicious. And I'm gonna have to get some to Ron because Ron will eat that. He doesn't eat a lot of the stuff I cook because Ron eats really healthy now. I don't know how he does it. I eat like crap, but I'll serve some. He'll eat it. And if you haven't gone to SpoonyWildRice.com, please check out Jay and Lori's webpage. They have a fantastic lineup of products. Not only the wild rice products, but they also have honey that they harvest themselves. This is a Gold Imperial. Oh, this is a jelly. They have a vineyard there as well, where they actually grow the only native grape to North America, Vitis vinifera. You've heard me tell the story why the French hate us, why they really hate us. We killed all their old vines, but that's made from this jelly is made from that grape. This is a Gold Imperial IPA beer jelly, medium and dark malts with aromas of golden citrus, spice, and blueberry. Use jelly as a marinade, dipping, or basting sauce. Pairs happily with meat, sandwiches, cheeses. That sounds delicious. And number one ingredient is beer. How can you beat that? All right. Anyway, that's SpoonyWildRice.com. Check it. Come back later. I think I'll make that recipe Wednesday. I'll make the spoon bread, and I will make the eggplant and cherry tomato saute. That is, oh man, it's such a good dish. And I'll use the oil that you gave me, Valerie. Thank you. Again, that's SpoonyWildRice.com. And I don't know if the promotion's going on, but try it. Go in there, put in the promotion code. I think I don't think that's it. I think it was only to the end of the month, but it may be still active. Try Spring 10. Spring 10. They were waiting for spring to spring in upstate Minnesota, and you get a 10% discount on your order. If it doesn't work, that's okay. Email me at info@spoony.com. We will get you the latest promotion from Nostalgia. Some great people, Lori and Jay up there. All right. Back to the etiquette lessons your grandma wishes you knew. All right. Number 1, who should pay for a meal? If you're on a date, some may say the man should always pay, but the old school rule is a bit sexist. If you ask us, this is not me writing this. So who should pick up the bill? Whoever initiated the date, whether that's business or otherwise. The person who asked the other out technically extended an invitation. After all, the dinner is a reflection of that person's wants. Both wanting to spend time and or eat, spend time, eat at a certain place, and or do business. So that makes sense. I agree. I think best is discussing beforehand. Hey, you want to go to dinner? If it's a business meeting, hey, I'd like to have a little conversation over dinner. Hey, you want to go? Let's go so and so, and we'll just go Dutch. Look, if you're especially look, we are a bootstrap company right here. We do not have a lot of money to entertain people, so I just say it up front. Hey, I'd like to let's go to. I'll buy the first drink. I leave it at that. That's all I say. Or hey, I'll buy an appetizer. Let's go to dinner. Not that I often go to dinner with people that are business associates, but on occasion. All right. Number 2, how to behave at the table. Yeah, there are a lot of things here. Number 1, don't eat before all at the table are served. I'm not going to read these, right? Don't eat at the table. Don't eat before everyone is served. Unless they only order an entree and you have a salad served before your entree. They don't have anything coming. Or if there's an appetizer they're not partaking in, go ahead and eat before them. But typically you wait till all are served at the table. When you leave the table, you put your linen napkin, the soiled side facing upward, on your chair. Always. Now, this is a bad habit of mine. Keep your elbows off the table. I have a problem. I have a bad habit of putting my elbows on the table. So I will now keep my hands on my lap or my hands on the table. Better yet, more appropriate. When you pass the salt and or the pepper, you pass them together down the table or to the middle of the table. Next, this was not something that was Doc's strong suit nor mine. Take your time while eating. Take your time. There is no reason to rush, right? There really isn't. Not only that, it's healthier. Chew your food, swallow, take a drink, chat, go back to dining. Take your time. Savor every bite. I told you about my friend that says they don't do anything but delicious. Think about that. If you eat more slowly, then your stomach also, the food expands in your stomach and you don't eat as much. I mean, I'm serious. Do you think that these speed eaters, not speed eaters, but these competitive eaters, they eat so much by eating slowly? No. They wolf it down before it can be expanded in their stomach. Really. There's a key to that. Eat slowly. You'll eat less, actually. Take your time. And then before you're ordering something more, and this is not part of that etiquette part, but before you order something more, give yourself 15 to 30 minutes to allow the food to start to digest, to see if you actually feel hungry before you order something else. 15 minutes is, probably long enough, but, maybe 30, maybe. Yes, I've said it, 4 times in that last statement, but at least I didn't say, okay? Where to put your belongings when at the table? Hey, this is a good question. I don't know where to put my belongings, although I know your phone should stay in your pocket or off the table. It's not just grandmas who are bothered. Being on your cell phone when you're at the table is one of the easiest ways to be rude without even realizing. So be a kind person and keep your phone in your pocket or in your purse. And speaking of bags, where should you put that? Put yours while eating? It goes under the table between your feet. In Japan, and that makes sense. I mean, keep your bag off the table. You're not tempted to dig into it. If it's sitting next to you, you're going to look for stuff, or you're going to check your phone if it buzzes. I think that's a good rule. I really think that not having your cell phone at the family meal, whether at home or look at any meal, not putting it on the table, keeping it out of sight, and not really looking at it unless you get some sort of repetitive request for action. Unless it's an emergency, just don't answer. I think that's the best course of action. Yeah. It's cool in Japan. In Japan, they have they have purses for men. They're not really a purse. They're a little man bag, right? We see it all the time in the United States. I heard Tom's voice. Tom, you coming back? No, but I never answered your question. I'm just messing with him. Anyway, I'm yelling over the top of the wall. So everything in here, I'm just messing with you. Yeah, come back if you want to. Anyway, everything in here is actually kind of soundproofed, except the ceiling tiles, right? Now, those are acoustic ceiling tiles, but what's really funny is the sound carries over the top. So one of our show hosts in particular, which we love to death, his voice carries over the top of the walls all the time. Doc used to as well.
Across 3 rooms.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's all right.
Yeah. I got these on, so the last hour of his show doesn't bother me. It's okay. Matlock, we love you. What was the question? What was the last question you asked me? One was why are chefs so unhealthy? But you asked me something after that. Or was that
about how they get the chef designation?
Yes, we talked about that a little bit. So the only certifying body in the United States is the ACF, and you don't have to come in. I was just giving you a hard time because he's like, "I'll be right back." I knew you're on the phone. So.
Do you have time for one more question?
Absolutely.
So I'm probably typical of a family, 2 people, 4 people in the family. When you get home at night, what's for dinner? There's ground meat, there's chicken, and everybody's tired of what's for chicken. So it's like, how do I go through the freezer or fridge and make something different?
So there's a couple things. If you have potatoes and any meat, hash. Onion, potato, whatever meat you have, whatever protein you have, that's the easiest way to do it. And you basically dice up your meat, dice up some onion, and if you ever do a corned beef hash, like a red hash, red flannel hash, they actually mash up or almost puree the corned beef, right? So you take that and you get mashed potatoes or diced potatoes, any potato you have left over. That just gets sauteed in the pan, seasoned up so it's almost on the salty side, and that's it. It's that simple. Now, if you have chicken and meat, you might have rice, then you turn your hash into a stir fry. So you take your whatever all the other ingredients besides the rice are, you heat the pan, and then if you're going to do like a real traditional stir-fried rice, then you crack an egg in, real quick whip it up like it's a scrambled egg. Then but before it's fully cooked, then you add the rice, the meat, whatever else is in there. You stir-fry that whole thing up. You get a little piece of fried egg in there. Say you have a bunch of vegetables, right? Maybe you take beef or chicken stock. You put the veggies in. If you have some leftover chicken or beef or whatever you have, you dice it up. You throw it in. Now you have a soup. It's that simple. Now, I saw a picture of Terry's jambalaya the other day.
Fantastic.
Damn, I can't believe I missed that. It looked delicious.
Yeah.
She put the rice right in there, right?
Yes.
But she didn't put enough in to thicken it too much.
Correct.
Yes. That's the key. Because for me, it should still be almost soupy.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like you pour it in a bowl, it kind of holds its shape for a minute, and it kind of collapses down in there. Man, that looks so good. But think about that. If you had leftover shrimp, chicken, sausage, anything like that, so you basically make your soup, you thicken up a little bit, you add your rice to it, that will help thicken a touch, pour it in a bowl. It's
fantastic.
Yeah, soups are the easiest way to use up leftovers. Rice is tricky because it tends to thicken things, but that and hash. Hash is like my favorite leftover meal. Cooked hash, not smoked hash. I'm just saying. That's the easiest way. If depending on the ingredients, like I told you, Damien used to call me all the time, and he called once since the show has started, and he's like, "This is what I have left, Dad. What do I make?" And I give him like 3 or 4 recipe ideas, I think. Another way you can make, like if you have beef or chicken left over, I always keep Rotel tomatoes and the green chili. Like the green chili, it's like diced green chili salsa, right? Or the sauce, the salsa verde. I always have that in the pantry, and so I'll take, if I have pork from whatever, I'll dice that up. saute it with some onion, and I add that green chili. And I'm telling you what, make a quesadilla and just, or a burrito with anything in it. I don't care if it's just rice and beans, but pour that over the top. I mean, you really can't beat that. I always keep tortillas in the fridge too.
We do too.
So if you look at a typical chef's refrigerator, it's typically like tortillas. There's a jar of tomato sauce in there. We typically have butter. Yeah, that's pretty much, and whatever leftovers we have in the fridge. We don't keep a lot in there because we don't eat at home much. It's a shame, but we got to work on that. I'm working. I need a induction burner for the kitchen.
Let's do it.
Yeah, and then we're gonna put a drop down like a GoPro camera right here. Yes, because I have some chefs that are ready to start their shows, like Trey's Chowdown. Trey Chapman. They want to start doing some live demo stuff. I have Randy White. He also wants to do some stuff. Yeah, it's gonna be fun stuff.
Trey had a cool guest on last week on Friday.
I'm telling you what, man. So Stefan.
Yep.
Stefan's last name is, hold on, I don't want to get this wrong because Stefan's a cool guy, right? And I already kind of blew him off last week on his name. Stefan, Top Chef.
I met him when he was working down at the wine bar, Max's Wine Bar.
Yeah. So he actually was, so Max has started in Houston, and they had several locations there. There's Max's Wine Dive, Max Wine Bar. There's a couple others, and his menu is unbelievable. It's actually Stefon, I think.
I believe so.
It's not Richter. Anyway,
our good friend Leanne used to work there, and that's how I started going to Max's. And then you know how Chef Stefan was talking about coming out and greeting the guests? He did that, of course, and that's how I met him personally. And then Terry and I used to get that prime seat 5 and 6 at the booth. I mean at the bar, so you could see into the kitchen. You could see what they're doing.
So I'll tell you what, open kitchens are scary. Yeah. You never know what's going to happen. So my guys used to always, man, every time somebody walked by, they'd drop a plate. They'd say, like the servers, or they go in the kitchen, they go down the steps past the line into the kitchen, they drop a whole tray. Job opening! Like 6 guys on the front line all the way across. They turn around so you didn't know who said it. I'm like, damn it. Stop it. Every time job opening. He won Top Chef in, he had like best plate in all of Fort Worth, right? And he does, man, he's been at so many restaurants now. Now he's doing some pop-up stuff, pop-up dinners, some temporary restaurants. I'm not sure what's going to happen next. Why can I not find him?
I just read a few minutes ago, Patrick, that there's a steak cook-off on Saturday, May 4th, up the road.
What?
Yeah.
What?
It's called the Roanoke Roundup.
Really? I wonder if Joe Wilson's going to be there.
And Roanoke, Texas, is called the unique dining capital of Texas.
I did see that. Why is it called that, though?
That's a great question. Because if you go there, I don't want to put it down, but.
Come on, man. There's got to be a reason.
I'm sure there is.
Did you send me that article?
I may have.
You may have. Yeah, I got it while I was driving back today. What the heck is? It's not Stefan Richter. All right, that is not him. Chef with Mohawk.
Who just won?
No, dude, come on. I mean, there's a lot of them actually. But when he was on Top Chef. He had a very short mohawk, right? It was like a baby mohawk, and he dyed his goatee to match it. And one of the questions Trey said is, so when are you going to dye your goatee to? But I'm telling you, his mohawk's tall now. It's like 10 inches tall. And man, he's done a great job.
He's a dynamite guy.
You know what's awesome is he involved me in the conversation, which was very, very cool. It was really fun. Both he and Trey, and every time that there was something to say to the camera, instead of just look, you can tell he's polished professionally as far as being like an interviewee. Because he would look at, even though I was producing the show, we made kind of a connection culinarily before the show started. And he would look at me and point at the camera and point to just in general towards the camera in the window. And that was really cool.
Nice.
Because a lot of people, they don't know who I am. They don't really, look, I'm just I produced Trey's show. I've had a lot of fun. I earned my chops. I put in my time, even though I don't cook as much as I want to right now. I think it's time to apply for one of those shows, right? We talked about this. I said I was going to a couple weeks ago during one of our meetings. I think it was 5 or 6 weeks ago, not too long after Doc's passing. But Cal Elsby and Doc, they talked me into one time. I filled out the application 3 times. Took me an hour each time. That thing's a pain in the butt. I filled it out. It went through, and it never posted. So it said I never got the confirmation email. And we even had I had an insider ready to put me through at least from round 1 to round 2, at least through the preliminaries. Not round 1, but through the overview process. Look, I have the chops. I got the experience, but they were just going to expedite that process. And it never went through. So maybe it was meant that I need to apply later officially, the same as everyone else. It was official. It was the actual application, not like I didn't have to do that. Okay, but I think it'd be fun.
I think I'm going to go out and try to register you for
chops?
Roanoke Roundup.
Let's do it. What's the date?
May 4th, Saturday.
Yes, that's okay because let me check. May 5th, I'm judging a pie contest.
Here or down there?
Here.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, so it's the Jelly Queen?
No.
Oh, you don't know the Jelly Queen? Okay, so her name is it's really long. I'm sorry, man. And everybody knows. Look, even my friends are like, "God, you suck with names. You don't remember my name, Jelly Queens." It's begins with Donna. She's got 3 last names. Anyway, she 2,900 people like her page. That's awesome. But they're local, and so she invited me to come down and judge. I was mentioning that Randy, who's going to be on here in about an hour. Sorry, that fell. She's going to be on in an hour. He's going to be on in an hour right after the show. And Mark Conway actually interviewed her on his show last week on Family Meal. But I was commenting, oh, what a cool thing, Randy. That's cool. You're going to be judging because they named this tasting panel for this pie contest using some of their products. And she's like, oh, well, why don't you come down? You can judge too. And I'm like, okay, cool. When is it? And I think it's May 5th. So that'd be cool.
You'll be in town then.
State competition one day. So are you signing me up to compete or judge?
Yeah, no.
Oh, that's cool. What's the cut? Do they tell you?
No.
Just a steak?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hell yeah.
If you enter and you're a participant, then we get 8 free tickets and we get 8 free dinners.
Woohoo!
We don't have to try yours.
Free?
We can try the other one.
Oh. Okay. Oh,
I've had yours.
That was actually
your steak.
That was actually really funny.
You cooked at home. I had to keep qualifying that.
That was funny. No, that's fine. I don't blame you for trying other people. So Tom's like, yeah, I do well when I'm, he hasn't seen me under pressure yet, so we'll see what happens. But no, that'd be fun. I miss cooking. I miss cooking under pressure. I miss the fun and the not so fun part of being in a restaurant. Every time you fail in a restaurant, it's not a failure; it's a learning experience, right? It really is. And man, I learned a lot in restaurants. Let's put it that way. But that'd be really fun. And not knowing what cut it is ahead of time, that's even better. I won best steak in Denver one year.
Uh-huh.
I did over in the Denver. It was Denver has the New Time or the something press. I forgot. They have the New Times magazine out of L.A. It's cross country now.
Yeah.
Phoenix does the same
Each
thing.
city
The
has
Westward, yeah. So they have one in Denver, and it might have been the Westward. I don't know the Westward or the New Times, but they had this voted best steak of the year. Well, we had a place up there that was called Hi Ricky Asian Cafe, and Hi Ricky was the idea came from there were 3 locations in Chicago. One in Bucktown, one right next to Harpo Studios, and the other one was not far from Wrigleyville maybe. And fantastic. It was just Thai and Southeast Asian street food. And we did a full service version of this in Denver on 15th Street, which was in the downtown, in the Lodo area, lower downtown. And I did this filet, which was marinated in olive oil, fresh lemongrass, chopped up, garlic, salt, pepper, and we marinate it for 2 days, and then we'd keep them next to the grill, and we'd warm them for 20 minutes before you cooked them. So timing that was really impossible. But I'm telling you, we beat out Ruth's Chris across the street. We beat out every chop house in town for best steak, and that was probably culinarily. I've won a couple competitions. That was probably my proudest moment. Beating them, because I spent a lot of money right across the street. I'm surprised they didn't name, like, you can put your little plaque on the table saying that it's yours if you come in, and they kick the people off of it. And I'm surprised I spent so much money there. Okay, I'm not supposed to say that, but I spent a lot of money there that I earned across the street. Dining at Ritz Chris, that, I was really proud of that, though.
Absolutely, should be.
Oh, hell yeah, it was awesome. I was a young chef at that point. Man. Back in the day when I had hair like yours. Anyway, look, we got about a minute left, Tom. Favorite meal you've had so far, well, lately, last month?
The jambalaya was awesome that Terry made over the weekend.
Dude, that looks so good.
Every time she brings out a new good dish, that's in our top 5 now, our top 5 rotation.
Nice. We'll have to say, yeah, sorry you missed the meal yesterday. But it ended up being it wasn't just brunch, it ended up being an all-day affair. But next time we'll be present, and it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I can't wait to continue that discussion, though. So, all right, hey, wow, 1 day in the books, and dessert. What's your favorite dessert? Quick. Favorite?
Cannolis.
So I like cannolis, but the mascarpone filling has to be smooth, right? If it's too granulated, I don't like it.
I agree.
But chocolate chip is my favorite, because that old dried candied fruit thing that my mother used to, I can do it. I like it. I'll eat it. But chocolate chip, that's the way to go. Matter of fact, I had a really good one. The Cake Boss has a dessert place at the Mohegan Sun. Damn, that was good. I had 2 cannolis. Nice. I never eat more than 1. All right, folks, 1 day in the books, 4 more to go. Again, join me tomorrow. Oh, stay tuned. Take an hour, do whatever you want. Listen to Spoony Radio, and check out who comes after me. I don't know. Listen to whoever's on there. Check out Randy White going live in 1 hour right here on Spoony Radio. Talk to you tomorrow. Ciao for now.
This is the only 24-hour take-anywhere platform dedicated to food and fun. We're Spoony.
News this hour